Damn it, fellas. Look here.
Stand by.
One for C-Lab, two for Troy Eagle, three for Wolverine to round out the trio. In this episode, everybody dies.
Broadcasting live from inside the Power Band, this is The Blah. In this episode, everybody dies. I'm your host, The Wolverine, along with my companions, Head in a Jar Higo.
Yo.
And Slave 2 weeks.
Going on.
Welcome to the show, folks. This week, we taking a little bit of a left and doing something slightly different. We decided to watch the John Candy documentary directed by Colin Hanks. I didn't realize that until I watched it. And, you know, there's a whole bunch of people in it. Bill Murray, Tom Hanks, Steve Martin, Martin Short, a lot of greats, Dave Thomas. We decided we're going to just talk about that and just talk about John Candy a little bit. Let's get into it. Hi, Lev.
Ooh. Hannah doesn't give a fuck if I'm recording a podcast. Unlock the iPad for me.
Yeah. You know what? I'll go first.
You go first.
Yeah, go for it.
I'll go first. I haven't really thought about John Candy in a while. Not for any particular reason. And I don't really think I thought about him enough. And I don't think I recognized or saw a lot of what I saw in this documentary. So I was really glad to watch it. In fact, I watched it twice. I just almost got to the end of it just a few minutes ago. It was really, really good. And it was great to see him and see how he got started and just see his sort of trials and tribulations and, you know, what he went through and to see his kids and his wife too, you know, it was really, as a film, it's a really well done film. And I'll expound on that later. And it was just great to see John. Additionally, I was so inspired after watching it, I wanted to watch Stripes. But Stripes was not available without me paying for it, and I didn't feel like paying for it. So I watched Uncle Buck, which I think ultimately was a little bit more apropos. I suppose Planes and Trains might have been the best thing to watch, but I hadn't really seen Uncle Buck, but maybe one time, if that. I didn't remember anything about it, and I really, I just wanted to watch it, so I watched it the other night. So that was that. Next person.
Nice. Yeah, I'd echo pretty much everything you said. The only thing I would say is, like, I don't know, when you said you haven't thought about John Candy in a long while, I almost, like, wanted to chime in and be like, and yet he was there the whole time. Like, I feel like he's just such a fixture that even if you're not actively, like, paying attention, like, he's just, like, deep part of our psyches, you know? Like, he's just such a fixture.
He is.
He's certainly come up
well said
in conversation over the years for us, and I suppose it's, like, more... I took from what you're saying and why we're doing this as like it's a Horsey over. It's like a homage to the dude, you know, pay a little bit of respect.
It's a Horsey, yeah.
So yeah, I think like similarly didn't know anything about his origin story. You know, obviously I was essentially like Macaulay Culkin's fucking age when he was kicking around. So
sure,
I was just here for the lols, and I don't know, the kindness with which everyone spoke about him and the, like, you could really feel the heartbreak. It was that classic case of, you know, someone, or like, you know, someone close to you dies and you love them, and it turns out, you know, 6,000 people show up from your grandpa's funeral kind of thing, you know, and you're like, oh, wow. So, like, it was kind of one of those kind of feelings for me. It was very, very powerful homage to a clearly amazing human. So it was really nice to sit down and be present and like actually just learn about the guy, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Agree.
Yeah, I will again do some echoing. I don't know. This was, it was really just, you know, touching to hear from all these different people that he's worked with over the years, and, you know, how well regarded of a human being he was. And I was like, "Fuck, I forgot he was in that movie. Oh, I gotta watch that one again." It's like
yes,
exactly.
he
was so he was just in so many different things that we all
he was so prolific, dude.
that we
Yes.
all loved. Including something like everything from something like Uncle Buck that's sort of candy centric to like Splash, to like all of the Spaceballs, all of it. So that was cool. And, there's a lot about him that I had no idea. I had no idea that he owned like a Canadian football team,
Yeah.
I completely forgot that.
It was just interesting to from his beginnings to, all the stuff he sort of ended up into, later in his life. It's pretty fascinating.
Very.
Yeah, and just entertaining and great and super touching. I was like starting to cry at the beginning, like when they're they sort of like are showing all these different pictures, and they're
Totally.
I'm presuming it's Dan Aykroyd's eulogy
It sounded
that they're
like
playing.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
And it was just like wow,
Yeah, no doubt.
Great way to
hits you in the
start it.
feels.
Heavy, dude. Yeah, very heavy. A lot
Yeah.
of parts of it that were really made me choke up a little bit, dude.
No doubt. Yeah, for sure.
It was that good. I'll starting on that. I'm gonna be totally honest. When Colin Hanks came on the scene, I was like, it was like he got into Band of Brothers because his dad was like heavily, basically created it. He had a part in like one of the last episodes, and then Orange County came out. I was really had this like, don't bring your kid to work feel, kind of thing. I didn't really think much of him, and I was like, dude, he's getting in all these projects because of his dad, this, that, and the third. And I'm very happy to say that I was 1,000% incorrect because he played opposite Billy Bob in the first season of Fargo, the TV series, and he was fucking great. And this documentary is so well done. I was like really impressed with like the way it was, and when I saw that he directed it at the end, I was like, right on, man, good.
Yeah.
And I love being wrong like that, especially about a creative talent. And kid can direct and he can act. So yeah, really impressed by that, dude.
Yeah, you did a great
really
job.
nice job. Really did. He didn't even have his dad in like too much of it. Like, it would be easy to do for, your family member or whatever, it was like, he was really judicious about it. He had a lot of people in there I didn't even think of that worked with Candy too, it was really, really
Sure.
great.
I don't know if you guys picked up on it or not, but when Tom Hanks was on for the first time, I just said Tom Hanks and then Splash underneath it, and I thought it was him fucking with his dad a little bit, and I just thought that was really funny.
It's funny.
I actually fucking cracked up when I saw that, because his dad would have been like,
Right?
"Hey, you little fuck,"
Totally.
Yeah,
It was
Well,
great.
I mean, I suppose in what you're referencing in the reference of Candy, that would be the film.
It is, but it's also kind of funny. It's like you don't need to say who he is, dude. Like,
I know, right? You don't even need to write. Yeah, no, you don't even need to write like actor underneath.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
was
we all
fucking
know who
funny.
the fuck he is, dude. Yeah, it's funny.
But no, he did do a good job.
Yeah, kudos, Colin. You did a great job, man. Really, really great
Yeah.
job of, framing and telling the story of John and honoring John.
Yeah.
I think it's a big thing to take on to do that. You know what I mean? And it's like he really knocked it out of the park, dude. It's really, really good, man. I so enjoyed watching it twice, even. I was like, just into
Yeah.
it. Getting all that info and those great clips and the old film reels and 8mm and all that stuff, dude. It was just great.
Mm-hmm.
Really great. Great music choices too, by the way.
Mm.
Yeah, I just saw Colin Hanks in Nobody 2, and he sort of played like,
Ooh.
the corrupt sheriff, but it's
Okay.
like
Nice.
he did a great job of being that like shitheel, like tough guy who like, a bigger fish comes along and like slaps him down, but he still wants to be the tough guy, like it's like getting his ass kicked, but still like, you know, insisting that he's like, I don't know. It was just, he did a good job of playing sort of an unlikable prick, you know?
Well, he's kind of like that Candy character that he ended up using in Vacation. It was like Bruce Fist in Your Face or whatever. The guy that was always like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that," but he's really just a clod, you know. Like that was that's kind of similar, kind of ironic too.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check that one out.
Yeah, Vacation. You should check it out. It's a good movie.
Oh, check Vacation. Yeah, obviously. I need to watch that. It's been a very long time since I've seen original Vacation.
I know, me too.
Super long time. Hey, Beastmaster's on Christmas Vacation like 6,000 times. Just the sheer amount of fucking tragedy in this guy's life with his dad and stuff was kind of fucking nuts. Like, speaking of well-crafted story, like it's, you know, a little bit of a wistful conversation in the eulogy stuff, and then it's just like, so this is his dad, and then he died straight away on the kid's 5th birthday, and you're just like, oh fuck, bro. Like,
yeah,
this is pretty brutal stuff.
It is.
And then for the son to go on to say, you know, like the family pretty much refused to talk about it, head in the sand style. So I don't know. You hear these kind of stories of whoever, you know, for whatever reason, Jim Carrey comes to mind, but like these comedy juggernauts that are just like, hey, they were the funny guy in the family. And it's just like John Candy was funny because his family was recovering from the father just fucking dropping dead at 35. It's brutal.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe it was just like a little bit of whiplash for me because it was like, you know, John's dad, whatever his name was a World War II veteran. And I was like, oh shit, I see where this is going. It's like, and then he died.
Yeah.
Because I just thought it was going to be some hard ass dad kind of thing. But
no, the opposite, in fact. Yeah. And like the other aspect of that is, you know, it's clear like his, you know, like, his dad dying of a heart attack, like at such a young age, was something that, like,
oh my God,
you know,
dude,
affected him, like, you know, throughout his entire adult life, you know, like, yeah,
and his bro,
you know, I mean,
you know, had one, right? Like,
yeah,
his brother did too.
Yeah, Mister watched it twice. He had a heart attack when he was like 30 or some shit, right? Like,
I don't know. I feel like I remember the part when they were talking about his brother, but I feel like it was kind of unclear. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I stepped away for a second. Who knows?
No, I think it was a heart attack. I mean, that's a pretty fucking bad heart genetics right there, man. Fuck.
Full disclosure, it's been you know, probably 3 weeks since I've seen this. So
sure.
Right on. Well, yeah. So, yeah, you know, like living with the shadow of your dad and your brother.
Yeah, knowing you're potentially on the list, you know.
Almost writing it, you know. Like it's crazy, dude.
Well, it's like this. I don't know. It's like one of these things. I don't do it. I really enjoy biographies when I see them, but I kind of rarely seek them out. Not rarely, but I just don't really like actively seek them out. And so often the film biographies these days, at least, are like, there's a reason why there's a biography. Like, it's an interesting or there's a whole lot of shit going on kind of story. And like some of these things, you just like, if you wrote a movie about this, you just be like, this is bullshit, you know, or like, this is like,
right.
Surely you're putting it on here, you know, and
right.
I don't know. I just feel like this story had such an interesting, tragic but interesting kind of like twists and turns where like his dad dies and his brother gets sick and he's freaking out and he starts to get healthy, and then his agents and these people are like, you need to like, don't lose any more weight or you're not going to get any more work, you know. And he's like, oh, okay.
Jesus, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, fuck, dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hiss of death. Yeah. I know. It's fuck. You know, Macaulay Culkin said it best about Hollywood, you know, in that one little bit.
The hamster wheel bit, yeah.
Well, he's just like, dude, you hang around there long enough, you either turn into an asshole, you go crazy, or you wind up dead. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, and then, you know, Levy said later, him or Dave Thomas said, it's a tough place for people pleasers, man, because it's just like a bottomless cup of coffee. No, it was Conan O'Brien. I was surprised to see Conan O'Brien in it. And Conan was the one that said that, you know, and they just keep taking and taking and taking.
It makes sense.
You know, it does, man. I mean, I've been a people pleaser for a lot of my life, and like when I was really bad with it, like it was just that. I was giving all the
100%.
time, and
And nobody
everybody
gives a
was just
fuck. Yeah.
taking. Oh, nobody cares, and I wasn't taking care of myself, So
Yeah.
I get that 100%.
Same.
It's
Same.
kind
I've
of
fallen
crazy,
for that
man.
trap too, for sure.
But that whole thing of just oh, dude, don't lose any weight. No. It's like, oh,
And maybe like
really,
I don't know. I have got a lot of fire in my belly about this topic that I feel like maybe getting it out of the way, but like watching this and watching the fucking morons on TV like give him shit. Like I was like my blood was fucking boiling. It was like some random Karen being like, "Aren't you fat little fucker? Aren't you fucking fat little?"
Oh my
fuck?"
God!
You know,
And it was so many, dude. There was so
Oh,
many
goddamn.
interviews. They were like Dick Cavett was like,
You're in a bunch of shitty movies. Why are your movies so shitty? Do you have bad judgment?
I had a
It's like,
couple of
fuck you, bitch.
turkeys in there.
Yeah. I don't, you
And
can
then it
just
was
see
like,
it on his
why don't you-
face, you know?
Yeah. And then the other part where he's like, oh, well, tell us, like, what are the horrible parts of John Candy? It's just like, dude, what
Yeah.
the fuck is this? Like, what the fuck kind of interview is this, man? Like, what are you doing? Nobody wants to fucking see all that shit.
But they do, and that's the sad thing, you know? It's like that's what gets
That
the
is the
views.
sad thing. Yeah, that's it, man. But yeah, all the weight questions, it was just like, whatever. I mean, the dude was a big dude anyway. I mean, he was like vertically large,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so it's like, and you could be vertically large and you can, there's, people are designed to kind of fluctuate between, 10, 15, maybe even 20 pounds going winter, summer, whatever. I mean, that's sort of normal and healthy, man. It just, our society is extremely unhealthy and the food we eat
Sure.
is like fucking poison, certainly over here. But, like a lot of that, like I would say like in the beginning, he was probably fairly healthy, man. I mean, aside from some of the lifestyle choices, you know what I mean?
Well, and the pressure stuff. Yeah, the life. Yeah, like the partying stuff. I don't know. You could see how you would fall into that trap, like we all had a bit of fun back in our youths and like
Bro.
throw being famous in there or whatever. And like you go into any bar.
Yeah, being famous and in your 20s in New York. Yeah.
But there was
in the
that
fucking 80s. Are you kidding me?
I don't know who said it at the end, but it was like a gut punch. It might have been like a Eugene Levy or something. Oh no, I think it was oh my god, I'm so fucking dead. What's her name?
I'm gonna die.
I'm so fucking dead. I'm sorry. O'Hara. What's her name?
Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine
God,
O'Hara.
you suck,
I'm so
dude.
dead.
You are. That is a nuclear.
No, but when
death.
it was like a gut punch when Catherine O'Hara was like, I'm pretty sure it was her who said, he'd go to all these bars and nobody would leave before John Candy, and maybe it was because they needed the business, and it was just like, fuck, like he was that kind that he would stick around just to get some extra bucks in the owner's pocket, and put himself second place to the idea of that, which just really hit me.
He was all about the people and the fans and taking care of people. I mean, like, just like in the same sort of end segment, like the dude was talking about the Argonauts period, and he was saying how there's John after the game standing around for 3 to 4 hours signing autographs, and then he's on the plane going to promote the next thing for free. Not like he's getting paid to do it. Like that's a lot. That's pleaser. That's pleaser power right there, man.
Yeah. Yeah, the industry definitely seemed to chew them up and spit them out. But I think it's kind of like I kind of take it back too, because like he had agency, like he was doing what he wanted to do. It wasn't like people were forcing him to do all this stuff. So saying
Absolutely,
like the industry chewed him up and spit him out, it's just like he had no strength to say no or whatever. And I feel like he did, and he chose not to. Like he was saying no to a lot of scripts that were away from home and being close to his fam and stuff. So
totally,
yeah.
It's so easy to look at people and like everybody has these weaknesses, right? And everybody has that agency. You know what I mean? And all three of us have these things that we suck at, right? And it's like,
everybody does, sure.
We suck at saying no to changing those things. That's why we're here, struggling, learning how to do that, right? And it's like, really everybody's like that. You know, and it's crazy because it's so easy, you know, when you look at somebody else's things that they struggle with and you're just like, oh, that's so easy. Like, you know, yeah, sure. Cause it's easy for you because your challenge is some different thing. Right. And it's like, it's like the fucking irony of being human, dude. It's crazy, man. You know, I thought about that particular topic so much in my life, dude. Thinking about that. And that's what I came up with, you know. It's crazy.
If only you could see your own life from the outside in.
That's exactly right.
That's the thing, man. You know what I mean?
It's so easy
like,
to tell someone else what they need to do.
Exactly. You know, so it's like you sit there and you whine about whatever it is, you know, my fitness, my weight, my health, my job choice, this fucking whatever the fuck it is, right? And it's like, you know, you can sit and you can cry about it and think you have no agency over it, but you do. You're just going to have to fight a little bit harder for that particular thing because it's that much fucking harder for you. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And that was clearly the case with Candy, you know what I mean? And I understand that plight of being a people pleaser, man. So, you know, my heart goes out to him for that part, you know, and I think it really was like that combination of like slowly gaining weight, hearing the people in the business saying don't lose weight, and then, you know, somewhat the lifestyle, you know, and then the stress, like, you know, it's a lot, man.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, knowing he was having like severe, you know, panic attacks and anxiety, like towards the end, like, you know, that's,
it's pretty brutal.
I definitely relate to that. That's awful shit.
Yeah.
And it's not a good combination for, you know, being, you know, morbidly overweight.
No.
It's,
and it's interesting.
And listening to his
manifested after his kind of rise. Like, I get the pressure would increase as you become more and more successful, but there was a kind of a little conversation or some statements in there that was like he just wanted to win. He just wanted to succeed, and then once he did, it was like, what's next kind of thing, and like all the anxiety stuff popped up more.
That was one of the things that Macaulay Culkin was talking about Hollywood too. Not in the same breath as the other thing I said, but he said, you know, the thing about it is like you achieve success, and the only question anybody's asking you is, what are you going to do next?
Yeah, he's like, you got the Oscar in your hand, and they say, what's next?
Yeah, and they're like, what's next? It's like, dude.
Yeah.
Let me hang out with this for 1 minute, you know? So it's like, you know, that's a lot, you know, when they start talking about like going to the airport and all the people being there, and then he's just, you know, locking up, getting anxiety, like, you know, and then when they're working on that movie that he was directing, you know, and Don Lake's talking about, you know, him being like, I got to go back to my trailer. I don't want anybody to see me, you know, because it's like, you know, they take out insurance, massive insurance
stooges were watching him like a hawk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they do that anyway, man. You know,
imagine?
I mean, you know, it's like they got to do that anyway. Like, I remember listening to or reading about Patrick Swayze on Point Break and how he would sneak off and go skydiving, and that was like strictly forbidden, dude, because they had such a huge policy on him because they were doing this fucking crazy action movie. So, you know, it's sort of like par for the course that those people are going to be there. I get it, but it's like that. I think in this case, it's just like adding more pressure to an already stressed frame, dude. You know,
that's it.
Like,
that's it.
It's almost
I mean, I know that's
making
commonplace, but it's not commonplace to be watching the actor for like, you know, eating behavior, or, you know, or like, I don't know, it looks a little pale. I don't know, like, you know, like shit like that. Like, that's gotta fucking, you know, it's one thing to have to sneak away to go skydiving. It's another thing to know that like you're not healthy and that like anything you show is gonna, you know, come up on these people's radar and make them, you know, jack up the prices, essentially, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're the biggest fucking pack of jackals in the world, dude. I mean, we all know that. We're all seeing it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like Culkin's, well, he wasn't in it for a long time, but I feel like he really brought a lot to the table here. Like,
really did.
I know a little bit about him in terms of his like difficulties that he was having for a while with drugs and stuff. And I just feel like similarly,
and his parents, I forgot the whole thing with his parents.
I don't remember any of that. Was that just like stealing all his money stuff or something? I don't remember any of that.
Basically, yeah, I think that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. he just really seemed to have had a very deep connection with Candy in terms of their friendship. Obviously age differences aside, but also like went through the same bullshit, like he really seemed very, very switched on to the realities. And I don't know, I just really appreciated, I mean, often, especially with, Em, my partner, she's always of the opinion that like, I don't want to hear about it from another person. I want to hear about it from someone who was there.
Sure.
Often with a movie or a documentary or a news story, it's like my friend's friend's friend did this thing. And she's just like, I don't give a, not listening, bro. Unless you were fucking part of it, like shut the fuck up. And I really feel like McCulkin brought that here, Obviously a lot of the other people did too, but I don't know. He really just seemed to crystallize it for me with the couple of things that you said, the what's next thing, and then the like hamster wheel thing.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And then I suppose you also have the addition of the son, which was very heartbreaking too. Like the daughter was a little bit older, I think, but like, yeah, Chris and Jennifer, the kids, you like the opening 5 minutes, it's Candy's dad dying, and then it's his brother gets sick, a little bit in, and then it's
right.
There was one point where like there was a voiceover about losing. He was like, I think it's something like he lost his dad at a young age, and you don't really realize how hard that can be. And I was just like, who is this person talking? And like, what do they know about it? And then it cuts to him, and you're just like, oh, he knows. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's a person talking on someone else's behalf, and man, what a fucking like, shit thing.
It's so awful, man, to even maybe have heard that as a kid between 1 and 5. I mean, there's only like a year or two there where you're going to even vaguely be able to comprehend that, and then to go through that yourself. You know what I mean? Like hear your dad talk about losing his own dad when he was 5. That's when Candy was 5 when he lost his dad, and his kid was 5 when he lost him. I mean, like that is just freaking nuts, dude.
But then there was a moment towards the end where Chris, the son, was like, my dad getting therapy in the 80s about his situation. I was just
thinking about that.
Helped me be okay with getting help too, and like he sorted himself out, which is like fucking right on, dude.
No, he's straight up said, I did it because my dad did it,
Break the cycle.
Yeah, fucking totally, man, And, now we can talk about all the positive things. I mean, unless there's
tragedy aside,
more,
right?
Is there any more dark lever we need to pull?
No, I think that's it. I don't know.
Went deep on it, man.
It's just I don't know, man. I guess like the like 11sies about the tragedy is just like it sucks so bad when such good people have horrible things happen, and like we're watching a movie or like we're hearing a story about it, and like I guess just on a day to day you don't realize how common it is for there to be tragedy in people's lives. We should just be fucking nicer to each other because there's a lot of good people. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. But, a lot of times, like, there's a perspective that would say that, he did everything he came here to do, and that was his time to check out, and that's that.
Yeah, totally,
and it's like,
man.
Doesn't make it any easier for the... Right, and that's part of his son's journey, too, and that's part of his daughter's journey and his wife's journey. It's all interconnected, man, and it's like, it doesn't make it any easier for the rest of us, but... that was just the way it was, and it's like, it may take you till 100, it may take you till 43. You don't know, what I mean? But when
he wasn't being a piece of shit about it either,
Well, no, but I think he was such a good guy. You know what I mean? He had it. I mean, really, for the most part, I think this is what was great about him was just like he had so much of it really dialed in. He had the work-life balance. He had the family that was important to him. That was his anchor. That was his rock. And it was what was important. It's what he was doing it for. And that's a good thing. It's a noble thing. And he had it pretty well dialed in. For a lot of his life. It was like in the sense that he had his priorities straight. And maybe. The part where he wasn't taking care of himself as much,
it was coping though, like I have sympathy for that.
I have a lot of sympathy for the coping too, man. I mean, shit. I mean, they said it at one point towards the end. Here I am going dark again. Like, you know, when you smoke it away and drink it away and laugh it away, and you don't deal with it, you know,
Yeah. Builds up.
That's when shit happens, man. Shit goes wrong. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta figure out a way to let it out, you know, or sort it out,
Yeah.
or at least sort it out in your head, you know. And it's like I've certainly done things like that, coped like that, you know. Most
Sure.
people do. But I forgot where I was going with that. Somebody else talk.
Onto the happy stuff. I think you were trying to segue us there.
Breaking free from the dark lever,
Yeah.
Thank you.
which you seem to have a fucking death grip on at the moment.
Sorry. Well, me
Fucking
too.
White knuckle in that shit. I mean, you know, it's a big part of the story, right? There's a lot of tragedy here, and you know that's
Sure.
But there is a counterpoint of, you know, a lot of really positive stuff for sure. What the hell was like the nickname he came up with for himself? It was like Johnny fucking Calgary
Johnny
or
Toronto.
something.
Johnny Toronto.
Johnny
Johnny
Toronto.
Toronto.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
became
interesting.
Johnny
He
Toronto.
manifested it.
That just got
He
me by
became Johnny
the
Toronto,
funny
yeah.
bone. Yeah.
Totally. And you could see how like a bit like that is funny, and then it slowly comes true, and it kind of makes it even funnier. You know, I kind of feel like that, like couple of
Right,
scenes toward
yeah.
the end where they stop the freeway traffic, which I got super choked up about. Like, it's like he's Johnny fucking Toronto. This is kind of great.
Dude, that is crazy. Like that right
It
there
is
is
crazy.
a testament to how great he was. Like when they said the only other time that it happened in LA, it was for the Pope and for like
The president.
I think it was
Yeah, it was a presidential motorcade and the Pope, and nobody else.
and like and John. Like that's really something, man. That's so freaking awesome, dude, you know?
Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
But he really did seem to have that larger than life thing.
He
I'm
did.
trying to think, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think about people that I've encountered in my life that have that larger than life, and nothing comes to mind. I'm sure we've all had sprinklings with that kind of thing, but he just really seemed like he had that energy.
He really did, man. There's a section in the middle of that movie, man, that's really got some good stuff in it. I wrote a lot of it down. And to what you just said, Chad, Mel Brooks said two really great things. He said he was a total actor because he was a total person.
Mm.
And that, you know, like it's ironic that statement is so behind like what he's all about. And he so much was just a regular guy who was really nice, and he was really nice to people. You know, like Bill Murray says in the beginning, you can always tell a lot about somebody by how they treat like a waitress or a waiter, you know. And I always tell my kids, like, everybody deserves the same amount of respect. It doesn't matter what they do, man, you know?
Yeah.
And like, he was so regular and so human. And that is what made him larger than life. That's the irony I was sort of driving at, you know? And that quote by Mel too, it's like it's sort of there's another layer there too, because, you know, as an actor, there's that's such a thing. The more of a full person you are, and the more experiences you've had, the more you can bring to your craft and what you're doing. You know, you could say the same about a musician as well. You know what I mean? And I know I said this out loud on the show. I think I said this out loud on the show. You know, a lot of these like, there's a lot of new, younger actors, and I find a lot of them to be very vapid because, I mean, younger actors in general are kind of like that. Not through any fault of their own. They just haven't had any real experience in life, man. You know what I mean? And then some of the older ones I find to be vapid just because they don't seem to have had any experiences, man. You know what I mean? And it's like it makes it kind of hollow, you know. And it's like what made Candy so great was that he was just so human and such a total person, man. You know, such a maybe not a. He was a complete person, you know, a total person, you know, failings and all, you know, like that's what makes a whole person, right? Because you're the parts of you that suck and the parts of you that don't work right are part of what makes you you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like you may struggle with it, but those things can be good things because they can fuel you. You know what I mean? And they can
Just being honest
bring
about
out
it too. People paper over that shit.
Yeah, exactly. So I think those things go hand in hand. That statement by Mel Brooks and what you said, for sure. You know.
Yeah, I came across something the other day that it was like, I think it was talking about imposter syndrome, and it was like an interesting conversation about it where it basically was like everyone's got it, obviously, to a degree, and the way to get past it is through vulnerability and like honesty to the negative or the downside of things, and like it's like the highest level thing. It sounds simple, but it was like if you're just yourself, then you can't be an imposter. Like if you just embrace all of yourself and you're all of the things, good and bad. So it's essentially like a form of presence, I guess, or whatever. And it feels like Candy kind of embodied that. Like he was able to convey, in my opinion at least, he was able to like convey his humanity, warts and all, just through his mannerisms and generosity and foibles in it seems like a very relatable way. Like he was the everyman because like everyone saw themselves in that kind of willingness to just be themselves all the way, top to bottom. Like I feel like it's a different way of saying the same thing, but I vibe with that for sure.
Well, I think it adds to it as well, actually. It's kind of there was a lot of like it's so weird. There's so many different types of actors, and like Catherine O'Hara, I think, said like, John was always playing these characters, but there was always a part of John in them, and it's like
in a good way.
There's some guy. There's a lot of actors like that. There's always part of them. It's always kind of how much of them is there. So like on the far end of the spectrum, you've got people that are so utterly themselves every time they're on the screen, right? It's like I can't really think of a great example, but like they're very much them, And then you have guys like Jared Leto or De Niro who are like super crazy method. Like Tom Hardy's the same way. Like they go really like to some unhealthy and dark places to achieve what they're doing. You know what I mean? And Heath Ledger famously had trouble. Was what kind of led to his death was struggling with like the places he went to play the Joker. You know what I mean? So it's like there's two parts of that spectrum. But like John seems like there was always almost everybody said that in the documentary. Like there was always a little part of him, like in every role, in every bit, and you could see it in the clips, man, in Summer Rental and in Uncle Buck and like, so many of them, man. It was in Planes, Trains, like when like Catherine O'Hara really like laid it out, that part where he berates him. Like I hadn't seen that scene in a while, and I forgot how fucking harsh it was. And she's like,
Dude.
He's hammering him, and then he keeps hammering him, and then he keeps hammering him. It's just relentless. It's like, it's awful, man. Like it really, really was, dude. And that was sort of the great scene to pull the title from, man. Like, I mean, Steve Martin said, like, he gave a reaction that was so real, so hurt, like just, and there was some of him in there, man. Cause I mean, he's really, some of that is describing the way John was, man, being overweight and whatever, and all those things, right?
Yeah. I thought that was very interesting hearing about that scene from Steve Martin's perspective, and that, it's like when he finished his tirade and John Candy came back at him, he was like, it felt like, it actually hurt his feelings,
Yeah.
I think he did. Not through. I don't think it was like Steve Martin hurt John Candy's feelings through the script. I think it's like the script was pointing to all of John Candy's fears. Like it would be all of the things that you would be. I mean, I would be on the receiving end of that, hearing that that harsh script, and you would feel it, and it would literally just be like, you know, naked in a dream at school kind of thing. It's all of the things that you're afraid are true when someone is speaking them to
Sure.
your face. Like,
Fuck
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
powerful.
Very.
And I'm saying it jokingly, but it's the Judge Dredd thing where, like, you know, the bottom of the mask has so much emotion. Like, John Candy's just sitting there taking it, and you can just, like, they talk about it in that early stage of his career where he was auditioning for SCTV or whatever it was, and he just sat there while the other guy ran his mouth, and the reason he got hired is because he listened, he absorbed, he was willing to receive the other guy's bullshit on stage. And I think
he
similarly
knew-
with the Steve Martin thing, it's like he was willing to just sit there and take it, and his face and his mannerism is just taking that being berated so perfectly that everyone in the audience would see it and identify with John being in that vulnerable moment, you know?
Sure. To add to that and frame it slightly differently, I'm going to use the other Mel Brooks quote from that segment of the documentary where he says he knew what was required and he knew he could deliver it. He
Yeah.
was like, he was, you know, he said he was a consummate actor, and then he said what I just said, you know, and that's it. Like when he did that audition, you know, like he was able to read the energy in the scene and do what needed to be done. And like when you got somebody running their mouth like that, it's like, and it's comedy, you do the opposite, you know, it's like sit there, play the straight guy, you know.
Yeah.
Same thing in the Steve Martin scene. He knew exactly what to do. You know, he was great like that. Like I was very somewhat surprised, but then not really surprised to hear like Steve Martin say, like, I was learning how to be an actor and expanding myself as an actor. And John was already there. You know, like I liked it because like I never really thought of Candy that way, you know, like
No.
I grew up with this guy. We grew up with this guy, right? Like these actors that are old now, like our parents' age, like they were so much a part of my life and my upbringing as so many things because these films were so excuse me, important to us, you know, and like certainly our generation, like just watching over and over again, you know, and it's like John Candy was in so many of these movies, you know, and I never really thought about him like that of like, you know, being this like really, really good actor, but he really, really was, you know.
Well, he feels like an uncle, like actually, you know, like in
Well,
a
he
weird
kind
way.
of, but the thing that's crazy is that but really like he's kind of like a dad, like he's like
That too, yeah.
you know, like I think the greatest thing in this documentary, like the best line I pulled out of it, of like the 5 I wrote down, was I think his daughter said he created for himself the father he always wanted. And that
Yeah.
like and he did that in a lot of the roles that he did. You know what I mean? And he was kind of like he was a little bit everybody's dad, you know? In that way, when you watch those clips in Summer Rental and in The Great Outdoors, two movies that I kind of was like, you know, I thought they were pretty funny when I was a kid, but I was always looking for like the funny.
The funny
I wasn't
yeah,
really
Caddyshack-y.
looking for the substance, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
substance in
Yeah.
all these movies, man, right? So, and like when I watched Uncle Buck yesterday, there's so much substance in that. And I was like, wow. You know, like there's a
Well,
lot
you miss it
here.
when you're a kid, right? Like,
Exactly. You know, it was like from kid to stupid teenager. Like I missed most of that stuff. You know, like the moments in Great Outdoors. You know, like with his son, I thought were so cheesy, dude. You know, and he's like, "Give me a hug." You know, you're never too old for a hug. And then, you know, the kid says, he's like, "You coming up here with me is like you coming up here with your dad." You know, and I was like, "Oh, dude, like." That just hit me like a 10-ton hammer, dude. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
because it's so real because he didn't have his dad, dude, you know? And
And
it's
he's
like
on the
not
receiving end of
only
those lines, too.
right, and
Yeah.
and it's like he's doing this like in this movie, which is even more fucking bonkers, dude. You know, like I don't know. He's kind of like everybody's dad, dude, or uncle
Yeah.
or whatever. Like it's just fucking awesome, man.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's revisiting some of those movies as an adult is a different experience for sure, you know, because you're right. As a kid, you're just looking for the funny and like, you're kind of like, oh, you know, it's like, you know, you feel like the sappy shit, you know, or however you want to call it is like meant for your parents or whatever. And there's a degree of truth to that. And like, you know, it's stuff you would just completely
straight over your head.
Yeah. You just miss it as a kid. Cause this is not what you're just like, this is fucking cheesy or whatever, you know, like you're
not tuned to that frequency, man. Yeah.
You're not tuned to that frequency.
You want a Spaceballs.
When you see it as an adult,
you're not here for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking for Spaceballs, you know, like I was looking for like with Great Outdoors, I'm looking for like, you know, Dan Aykroyd doing Roman Craig, you know, like that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like characters, you know, like shit.
You're
like
looking
more
for some silly
for me
shit.
to do.
Yeah,
totally,
exactly.
man, you know, exactly. But like, there's so much depth there about family, the relationship with the son, and like his relationship with his dad that was non-existent. It is almost like he created this whole world that he missed, like through the characters, man. But like he was his dad, you know, like it's kind of crazy, man, but it's really kind of cool. It's really cool, and it's meta, and it's really cool too, man. You know,
well, it's him
like,
making up the like dad-osity in a film that isn't real. So he's like, you know, it's like this really weird. And
that's what I was saying a minute ago. Yeah, 100%. And like, I think it's, I don't know, like watching this is just like, John was always great. Like I said, like we all grew up with him, and it was always like, oh, it's like a Candy movie. It's like Candy's great. He was so weird and Nothing But Trouble, playing like the weird
the twins.
Cop and the weird twins and like the woman and like
the daughter.
The daughter, exactly, right? You know, and like all these other characters
movie,
he's
dude.
done, like the security guard in Vacation. I'm just thinking of some of the wackier ones, you know, like he was just great, you know, like, but like I haven't really watched a lot of his stuff in a while, and now I am the dad, and it's like watching this has just made me really appreciate him even more as an actor and a performer and a comedian, and now as a person too, because you really get to see the whole picture, you know, and like I'm grateful for it, man. Like this is so good to watch, you know. Like I just want to go watch so many John Candy movies now. You know, it's crazy.
Absolutely. I had a thought when you were talking about you know, everybody going on about like, you know, what a high level actor he actually was, and how we didn't really realize that. And I think part of that is that I don't know. It's like, you know, we're like talking about like Jared Leto and method acting or whatever. Like clearly that wasn't his GIF. Like, but there was something about him that was just you didn't notice it because it seemed like it was very natural. You know, like it just came like he was just being, you know, he was just, you know, reacting sort of as himself, and that always worked really well, you know. maybe because of his, you know, larger than life status or you know, I don't know, but I think the reason that we never were like, you know, oh, John Candy's a fucking great actor, you know, like just didn't, it's not like a thing anybody ever talked about. In fact, they talked about, despite the fact that that was true, they talked about the opposite, you know, like, oh, you're in a shitty movie, or oh, you did this movie, or, you know, like, so I think that's, you know, I think it's part of it is that he's just, I don't know how to explain it, but other than like, he seems to sort of be a natural, you know, like just a natural talent, like a prodigy of sorts, you know.
You know what, dude? I'm gonna add one of my last quotes that I wrote down here, and it's Martin Short has said this, and I've always been a huge Martin Short fan. He's just so great, and he really said this beautifully, man. He said that John brought a vulnerability, sweetness, and kindness to his characters, and he conveyed that with such little effort. And I feel like that's very much what you're saying, and maybe adding on to it a little bit.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right.
When you were talking about it a second ago, it actually made me think about the Dalai Lama. Like I actually think like the strength here is that he was present. You know, being present at like a very high level is literally practically impossible. And it seems like he was just super fucking grounded and present. Like I've heard people talk about the Dalai Lama where he like walk into a room and it just like kind of changes the vibe just because he's just like super fucking in himself, you know?
Mhm.
And it seems like there was a bit of that here. You know, it seems like he was just so thoroughly present in himself that he was able to convey that naturally, easily. And I could see how that would be very magnetic, you know, like when
Sure.
someone is super grounded and not just like flighty and worried about what's going on. It's very magnetic.
People are magnetized to it. Yes.
Mm.
100%.
Yeah. There's something to be said for when it seems effortless when somebody's doing something, you know.
In the flow.
It creates your perception of it is different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I feel like, and I don't know if this is right 100%, but like I feel like the people that we regard as great actors, you're sensing like a work that's going into creating a character that, you know, like you're sensing this like structure that went into the performance, you know, like this this approach or, you know, whatever that went into it. And then you didn't sense that from Candy at all. Like I didn't sense that he was like, okay, so what's his backstory? Or,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like he just kind of like intuited it. Like it just sort of came out of him naturally.
There were two things I heard recently that very much rhyme with what you said. One was Michael Lewis, the guy that wrote The Big Short, has a podcast that's really interesting, and they're just putting out another edition of The Big Short, so he's interviewing a bunch of people from, you know, like the actual heads and stuff, and he was talking about Christian Bale playing the dude with the glass eye in that movie, and was like talking to Christian Bale about his process he's like, dude, you nailed the guy. Like, how the fuck did you do that? And Christian Bale was like, I don't know, whatever, you know? And he's like, no, you got to tell me. He's like, I went and I spent the day with him. He spent one day with the guy and just like followed him around and just like, you know, had lunch with him or whatever. And I was like, all right, thanks very much. Can I have the outfit that you're wearing? Like the t-shirt and the shorts that you're wearing. Can I use that for the movie? And the guy's like, yeah, sure. And he's like, went on his way and then went and smashed the movie. So then Lewis confronted him and was like, you got to tell me the secret. You got to tell me the secret. And he's just like, it's not interesting. He's like, no, you got to tell me. He's like, he just breathes at the wrong time. And he was like, what? And it turns out that just this one little observation was all it took, you know? And so it wasn't overplanned. It was just observant and maybe present. So that was super, super interesting as a like unlocking the character, so to speak. And maybe that's more planning than what we're talking about, but it was minimal.
Maybe.
And then the second thing was New York Times did an interview of Hopkins. And there's like a little clip that I saw where the guy was like, you know, do you think that all of your movies are, you know, legendary? And he's just like, no. They're like, what do you mean? No, they're all, you know. And he's like, what about Silence of the Lambs or Remains of the Day? He's like, yeah, they were all right, you know. And then they're like, well, what about, you know, Silence of the Lambs? And he's like, everyone always asks me how I did Hannibal Lecter. And he's just like, I just did the opposite of what you're supposed to do. I was just calm, you know, and he did like a line from it. And the interviewer was like, oh, I have goosebumps, you know, but like Hawkins is just like, fucking shut the fuck up, dude. You know, like it comes naturally because he's just like, I was just seemed like that was the thing, you know?
Sometimes it's just that simple, man. And sometimes you just go do it, you know, and you don't think about it. Like exactly kind of what you guys both were sort of saying. You just do it, you know, and it's like it just comes out right, you know, like there's certain like sort of camps of how to do acting, you know, and one of them, the sort of the Sanford Meisner kind of David Mamet kind of is like, you just read the words on the page. Like they do everything. Like the script is good, just read the words. It's just talking and reacting, right? You're talking and reacting. It's
Yeah.
like if you know how to talk and react, and you can read the words on the page, like the words will almost do everything for you. You know what I mean?
As
It's
long
like,
as you're there.
yeah, as long as you're present, as you both just said, you
Mm.
know, it's just said, like, so it's like if you're present, read the words, and it's like that'll almost do the job, you know. So, yeah, it's just kind of interesting like that, you know. And it's like, so then you just do that. You just read what's there, and people are like, "Oh my god, like that was mind blowing," you know. And you're just kind of like, "Well, I really remember that night, and I had a really bad stomach ache, and I didn't even really feel like I was doing that great." You know what I mean? Like that. That's what you
Yeah.
know, like you think, you know. It's
So
like,
yeah.
you know, man, looks like you get up on stage and you're just like, Christ, I feel like shit. I don't want to do this. I'm playing
What
like
did you?
shit.
What was the bit with Jack
All these
Nicholson?
riffs suck, and it's like people are so into it. And it ends up being like, you know, it's kind of like when you ever notice, like when you look in the mirror in the morning, you're just like, good God, I look like shit. And then you'll
Yeah.
go out of the house, and I swear to God, 5 people will be like, "Wow, you look amazing, man! You are just like you just look great. Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
really
Okay,
like
man.
glowing, or you're really centered, or whatever. Like that always happens to people.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
it's the weirdest thing, man.
Was that this one with the Nicholson anecdote about him going out all night with Nicholson? Am I just making that up?
No,
Yes.
that was in the movie. Yeah.
Okay.
It was,
I watched a couple of
during the
random
filming
Fire
of
Five.
Splash.
Yeah. Okay.
That was it. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
He rolled in and did the racquetball scene that.
Oh yeah.
That next morning.
I gotta watch that again, man.
I haven't
Well,
seen
that-
since.
That reminds me of
Yeah.
something we were talking about earlier, where Tom Hanks was saying you were talking about Steve Martin trying to find himself as an actor, and Candy was already there, and it reminded me of that Tom Hanks thing about Splash, where he was like, I was worried I was going to get bowled over by this improv guy, and then I realized he was inviting me in to play around and fuck around. And once that happened, we were like batting it back and forth. And like a few
Right.
different people were talking about how it wasn't about being the best and having the best one liner. He wasn't fighting. He was trying to make the space for everyone to kind of win, And like, I really
to make
appreciated
right
that.
and to make the best product, man. Right.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
so like any team effort, right? Like if you can get the right group of people together.
But there's always
in
the
any-
fucker that likes to hog the ball, So
yeah, but there's not always a fucker that likes to hug the ball there. But like if you can get the right group of people together, man,
Then
and,
there
and
ain't, yeah.
everybody's willing to give. Like I mean, they talk about this in acting, but it goes in any job. Like if
Everywhere.
everybody's willing to give, whether you're up on stage with the band, up on stage with the actors, or you're in an office, if everybody's giving and everybody's focused on the outcome, like
Yeah,
then you've
it's a
got
multiplier.
then you've got some gold there. Yeah, it's a
it's
multiplier.
not
and
addition
you've got
anymore. Yeah.
you've got a chance at like creating some cool fusion, man, and
Yeah.
some cool gold.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
You
I
know,
don't think ball hoggers do very well because, ultimately the people don't want to work with them.
Yeah.
They don't.
You know?
that's what happens. They end up falling away, and people are just like,
I also
I don't think so.
I also
Really?
thought it
Him?
was interesting with Bill Murray there too, where he was like talking about the SCTV, I think it was days, and he was just like, we were the worst ones. No one wanted to do anything with us, so we would just do it together. And it was just like, fuck, man. Bill Murray and John Candy were shunned because of how bad they were. Like,
Yeah.
Well, and like
It was so
like
interesting.
Ramus was saying, he was like, dude, nobody was watching, so we just did whatever we wanted.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we were able to do these outlandish sketches and these wild characters and these scenarios because like nobody was watching it. Nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like, 3
Later.
years later that the whole thing exploded and really blew up, and
Yeah.
a lot of our favorites came from SCTV.
Oh, 100%. There was that
You know,
joke
there
that
was
best American comedians are Canadian. Like, obviously, it's tongue in cheek and not true, but like,
Sure. But there was a lot of American guys that were in SCTV. I mean, it was
sure.
in Chicago as well as, I think it was in Canada as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know the whole sort of litany.
I,
of that,
I, I
but-
never followed it back in the day.
or the
I'm familiar
etymology,
with it.
rather.
Yeah.
Yes. Like Rick Moranis, Dave Thomas, all those guys. I mean, they're all
Mhm.
brilliant.
I mean, that was the genesis of Bob and Doug McKenzie and all the fucking
Mhm.
strange brew nonsense. So
Strange brew.
Dude. so good.
So good. I
The
love it.
movie's so good.
I never
remember
realized
at-
Ramos was in charge of that. That was
I didn't
pretty interesting.
know Conan was in charge of National Lampoon magazine.
That I did know. I must have seen
didn't
that
know that.
somewhere.
That was crazy. That's what-
When Conan was like, my favorite bit is the yellow belly whatever. And he shoots the kid in the back. Dude, I
Yes.
fucking lost it.
Yes.
Fucking great. So good.
I fucking lost it, dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, you don't understand. That was like 1989. You can't shoot a woman and child in their back on fucking television. They just didn't give a fuck. You know? And I just love that, dude.
Yeah, I did too, man. That was
It's
great.
still super funny.
Yeah, and that is like if you've ever spent any time like examining Conan, that's like such his fucking wheelhouse. He just
100%.
loves that kind of shit.
I mean, I do too. It's just like it's the least
Yeah.
expected thing brings the most delight, you know, sometimes.
Yeah, it's sort of. I was watching a little video about Tim Robinson because I'm a big fan of I Think You Should Leave, and like we were just talking about like absurdist comedy, and I was like, yeah, I was like, I really like. I was thinking in my head like I really like absurdist kind of like I like that Tim and Eric stuff. I like
Yeah, it gets really weird.
like we're not taking a left, we're taking a quantum left. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I
yeah.
love that. That stuff.
Yeah.
Quantum
Yeah,
left.
yeah.
Like
Did you just make that
really-
up? I love that.
Yeah, I did.
It's like
'cause I've
Quantum
seen,
Leap.
yeah, because I've seen so much stuff, right? And like,
Dude,
I mean,
yeah,
I've
it's
sat
so
here.
weird.
Not only have I seen so much stuff, like all my comedy heroes are like, you know, Chris Guest and the Spinal Tap Gang, and like the
Yeah,
Simpsons,
sure.
and Jerry and Larry David too, really, and like all these guys that we're talking about, Murray and Candy and all these guys, and then I've sat here and done this with you guys for 4, 5.
A long time. It's been like 7
Yeah,
years,
it's
man.
it's been quite a while. You know what I mean? So no,
Uh-huh.
I really like that like quantum left. You know, like something that's just totally bizarre,
Totally out there. Yeah.
out there, but it works and it's funny. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that fucking scene just killed me, dude. And I also kind of really loved. I love that. I think like one of the things I love about Conan is he's super honest. He's very similar to a Candy in some ways. He's kind of a showman, but he does it on purpose, like the facade. You can see through the facade because he's so skilled and see the real kind of Conan in there. And I just love that he came on and just was like, I spent a day with him, and just like he just like fangirls out, you know. He was like, yeah, dude, it was fucking
Right.
great. I really loved it. You know, like I really loved that.
I did too, man. I think the difference really, like Conan says, like, you know, he's like, because he was the one talking about the pleasers, and he was like, you know, my ego is so big. It was all to like, you know, so much of this or that was to feed my ego, you know. And it's like Candy's ego orientation was very different. You know what I mean? So like a lot of the actors are like Conan, you know, a lot of the people in that business are like Conan, but you'll get those rare people like Candy and probably really Bill Murray too, I would say, and a few of those other guys, you know, where the ego orientation is very different and they're not, it's not just all about
I kind of feel like
feeding
it still
their
fills a
own.
hole, though, wouldn't you say?
Well, it does, it definitely fills a hole, but like I'm just saying the orientation of it is different. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like it's not necessarily a bad thing. Ego is always painted in a bad way, but
Yeah, yeah. There's
It's-
healthy
it's-
amounts and unhealthy amounts for sure.
Well, it's a part of everybody, and it's a tool that can help you do a lot of things. You know what I mean? If you learn how to
Yeah.
channel it right, and the orientation can be very different. It can be very inward as well, and you can kind of internalize, you know, your sort of egocentric bits or whatever.
For
You
good
know,
or
like
bad, yeah.
yeah, exactly. I was just making the distinction that they were different. Like Candy was. His was different. So he was all about like making the whole great, like the whole product, the
Nurturing.
whole outcome great, right? Like he wanted everybody to kind of like, you know, succeed in that way. And
Well, Conan always talks about showbiz, and I feel like the performativeness of showbiz is one of his main muses, I suppose. Whereas you talking about Candy as the dad, it's like fostering that team thing and kind of nurturing and stuff really seems to be kind of his bag.
definitely.
It's not to say Conan didn't do that too. I don't know, but
No, not at all. You know, but certainly when you're just taking the fact of being a pleaser, like if you're a pleaser, like Candy's a pleaser, like that ego orientation is going to be different, sort of by default, you know. But he was, I don't know, he didn't just please everybody. He also gave a lot, you know, and it's like that's why he's great. Like,
Yeah.
pleaser to a fault or not, like he gave so much, and that's why he's great. Like standing there giving autographs for 4 hours in the football stadium, like that's great. You know, like
Yeah.
really, really, like the linebacker was saying from the Argonauts, he was like, you know, he's like John was on the sidelines, man. Like he was down there
Yeah.
helping. He wasn't like up
Hi.
in the box. He
I'm
drinking
Johnny
hot cocoa.
Football. I'm the linebacker. He's like, I know who you are, man.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Yeah.
like that's really great, man. You know, really great. And like listening to Macaulay Culkin talk about like, you know, his like dad being a shitbag, and he's like John was like, you know, he said that John showed us respect. He never talked down to us. He always showed us respect and spoke to us like he would anybody else. And that was with respect. And that's why he was so great, and it was so easy to connect with him. And he said, and he was always kind of looking out for me. Like you know, like things started happening with my dad, and like, you know, John was over there kind of looking out the side of his eye, like, is everything okay over there? You know, and he's like, you know, he was looking out for us in a business where that didn't really happen very much. And he
Yeah.
goes, and I always appreciated that about John, you know, and like that's like again the dad, dude, you know, like the consummate dad that he never had. Like he was that guy, not like to everybody on film and for real too, like to his own family, to the coworkers, like it's just awesome, man.
Yeah. No doubt.
That's a great legacy.
You couldn't ask for a better legacy for sure.
Oh, no way.
I feel like we've been in bits and bobs territory for a little while.
Absolutely.
I
Kind of the whole thing.
Yeah, it kind of is. The Dan Aykroyd, I was maybe struck is the wrong word, but like to see Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray in particular both be very, I don't know, hurt or cut up or
Yes.
melancholic about it all
Mm.
was really interesting and powerful. I mean, Aykroyd even says, he's like, I'm bringing up all these memories I haven't thought about in a long time, but
Mm-hmm.
to see them both go back there, I guess, was really powerful, I guess. Interesting, sad.
It was great and a little sad,
Good.
yeah. Nostalgic. Yeah, absolutely. I had this weird, like, I didn't feel like there was enough Aykroyd in this.
Yeah.
Like Aykroyd interview.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, there really wasn't a ton of Bill Murray either, but there was a little bit more. So I don't know. Like, I feel like,
There's a bit of voiceover. I think if you had him on the screen during that, you might feel slightly differently. But yeah, I hear you.
yeah, you may be right. And I just feel like, you know, I don't know. They were both Canadians, and I feel like
I think choosing to spend more time with FaceTime with the family made a bit more sense. It's probably the right decision, although I do feel you that it would be nice to get a bit more.
it was great, man. Like the daughter or the son, like even just
And the
getting
friends,
those people
too,
to
you know?
participate. You know, when you do something like this, it's like getting like certain people to participate is hard. Some people, it's just too painful. You know, they don't want to do it.
Mm.
You know, so it's like it's great that they were all in there and they were all very, you know, candid in what they talked about. You know, it's really great.
Yeah, no doubt.
Speaking of Bill Murray, can someone remind me about what his? I just remember he was like, you know, he was trying to find like something bad to say about John Candy.
Oh, yeah.
And like it kind of ends up just being this like asinine story, but it's like such a
No.
Bill Murray thing to do.
It didn't.
And I
No,
can't-
he's like, I think you're going to have a hard time finding anyone that has anything bad to say.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, there was this one time.
That was the opening of the movie.
Yeah, and it's like there was this one time
Right.
where we were down at the park and da 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 da, and then it cuts, and it
Yeah,
never
but then
gives you the story.
right.
No, I think he finishes it at the end.
Oh, does he?
Does
Yeah.
he?
Yeah, he does. I'm trying to
Because
remember
like
what
I
the hell
thought
it
that
is.
the cut in the beginning was very clever because it's like, you know, there's that little bit of tension, but I don't recall it actually ending. Interesting.
Yeah, no, he definitely picks it back up.
I
Oh
like
shit!
it. I like it.
I guess just strike it from the record because I
No,
wish
don't.
remembered
I
what the hell
like
it was,
like
but-
that I missed that he actually finished. It makes sense that they would cut the story in later. And I as soon as they cut it in the first scene, I was like, oh, they'll tell this later. But I was so engrossed in like the story that I think I just missed that he actually tells the anecdote. And it probably, like you said, was just such a nothing burger, you know? Yeah, that's fucking funny. I like it. It's such a Bill Murray thing to do, you know? Like,
yeah, he sets it up and then they break
talk
it up
about
to like
shit.
build this sort of
Yeah.
tension. And then when he finally
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
back,
yeah.
it's like, you know, I forget what some director got pissed at him for something for I don't remember what the fuck it was, but it was like
It was
not
the play they were doing, and he had the scene in the bathroom where he's talking through the wall, and he said John milked
Yes.
it. He milked the shit out of
he
it.
milked it. That's what it
Oh,
was. Yeah,
that
yeah.
I remember. Yeah. Okay,
That's
I
it.
didn't realize that
And
was the second
like,
half of the story.
That was what everything was set up for. It was like, yeah, he milked it a little bit.
Yeah, but the best thing is that the documentary, I think it might have even been Colin Hanks, is just like, what do you mean milked it bad? He's like, oh, no, it was good.
Yeah, he milked it a little
Just
bit.
milked it. Yeah, right.
That was-
Oh,
that
that's
was like
funny.
the-
I
that was
didn't
the-
put two and two
That was
together.
the worst thing he could think of, you know?
He ever did. Yeah. I love that. I think like in the bits and bobs territory, and the only other one that I've got that we kind of breezed through was I was blown away by the fact that his character in Home Alone was filmed in 23 hours.
Oh my god! Right?
He's like, I got a day, and I'll take as much as I'll do as much as you need, and they did the whole 23 hours, and like it all just came out of that one day, which is just that's like that character in Home Alone, dude, is just one of the anchors of that movie, you know, like
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. The thing that most surprised me, I mean, there was a lot of things that surprised me, but like one thing that I never put together and never really heard about was it like how him and John Hughes were so tight.
Yeah,
I never thought that. I never knew that.
9 movies or whatever.
Yeah, 9 movies, you know, and it's like,
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin was saying that. He's like, no, I did as many movies as what's her name, you know?
right, as Molly Ringwald, right? But
Molly
like,
Ringwald.
it wasn't just like they were interviewing John Hughes at one point, saying like, I'd finish the script, then I can give it to John, and John would tighten it up and give me feedback on
Last
it,
pass,
and
yeah.
I know it would be good, like I knew that was that, and like the daughter saying how. They're hanging out, family with family, having their farm and their farm and having the barbecues. And like, I just was like, wow, I never knew that they were such huge collaborators like that. That really was like a massive part of his career, man. Like
Yeah.
perhaps even the biggest, like you're talking about 9 different movies. Like that's freaking crazy, dude.
It makes me want to revisit Candy's stuff and Hughes' stuff, through the eyes of an adult.
Me too. Well, that's why I watched Uncle Buck. I ultimately settled on Uncle Buck because I was like, well, it's John Hughes and it's John Candy, and I don't know that one that well. So let's see what's what, So yeah, that's my bit and or Bob.
I like it.
Nice.
What else?
I don't.
That's it.
I don't know whether to call this like a nugget or a bit or a bob, but for the opening of this movie in Toronto, I think Colin Hanks and Ryan Reynolds, who is one of the producers on this, they hired. There's these like YouTubers who have a YouTube channel called Hacksmith, and they're sort of like a conglomerate of like, makers and engineers and, just dorks. And they the main thing they do is they take like, that they try to make like a real Iron Man suit or like a real Captain America shield or like a real lightsaber or, like stuff like that. Like that's sort of like their thing. So they hired them to reproduce the car from Trains, Planes, and Automobiles in its like final form, like burnt and blown up and like Like
Convertible
and,
Reliant K burnt to shit.
yeah, but it wasn't. I mean, that's what it was, but it wasn't. It was like a made up car. Like it wasn't actually
Sure.
I mean, that is actually what it was in real life,
Right.
but like it had a
Right.
different name in the movie.
Right.
And then
Metallic
so
P.
like Colin Hanks and Ryan Reynolds rode. They like dropped it off for him, and they rode into the premiere in that car.
That's awesome.
That is really cool.
And so if anybody's looking for some like extra credit homework, like go out and watch that Hacksmith video. What they did is pretty
Okay.
cool. It's pretty cool.
That's super cool.
I'll have a peek. Yeah, that sounds good.
It's like all burnt and
Yeah.
blown out, but the radio still works. And like one of the seat is doing the thing where it's like keeps trying to like throw Colin Hanks out of it, you know. It's got the giant fucking trunk in the back, and you know, everything is there. The burnt credit cards and the fucking glove, you know, all
Big
of it.
weird
Like it's all
luggage
there.
rack on the trunk. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
all
cool.
there.
Speaking of great movie vehicles, I just want to honorable mention out to the absolute beastly heap of shit that he drives in Uncle Buck. I don't know what kind of car it is, and I didn't bother to look it up, but that car is as much a character in that movie as
Sure.
anybody else. It's like it has this thing of like just kind of bobbing every time the thing like it comes to a stop. It'll just sit there and bob back and forth on its crappy suspension for like 5 minutes.
Totally.
It's so good, and the smoke and like the shotgun sounds, like the backfires is great.
Mm-hmm.
That ties in really well with Aykroyd's anecdote about meeting Candy, where he was like he drove up in like a shit brown Buick or something, and came out in his suit and was like, "Dude, you can't park there." And they started going at each other, you know.
Yeah, good
That was
stuff.
really sweet. I really liked that.
It was if it wasn't the same car, it was a very
similar.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
That's
can't
awesome.
park there. What are you, a doctor? Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
You could just fucking hear it, dude. It's like I love
Yes.
it. You're like, I like that guy.
Yeah, me too.
If we're on nuggets, there's no nuggets for this
No, we're on the end. Just say it.
documentary, but there was one thing I saw in his thing, which was he turned down the lead in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Louis Tully in Ghostbusters because he thought his friend Rick Moranis was a better fit, which is just like testament to how fucking
great he
generous
is.
the guy was. Like,
Absolutely.
goddamn, man. Like,
Yeah.
a legend, dude. A fucking legend.
Serious legend. Legendary human, man, you know?
So crazy.
Yeah.
And then on top of it all, man, like I don't want to end on a sad note, but like talking about
You're
his
gonna.
death, where it was like they found
But you're
him
going to,
like
yeah.
with a Bible on the fucking bed, like he realized he was having a heart attack in some podunk hotel, and it was just like, fuck it, man, and just grabbed the Bible, and it's like, god damn, dude,
Yeah.
fucking guy.
Yeah. Intense. Yeah, really, really harsh.
Shout out to John Candy.
There you go. Shout out to John Candy. Well said. For deaths,
Catherine O'Hara death, that's for sure.
that was it. The Catherine O'Hara nuclear death. Or sorry, I
That was
wrote
pretty bad. I'm
I
sorry,
wrote-
Miss O'Hara.
I wrote nuclear.
It's disgusting. It's horrible.
Nuclear.
Yeah, nuclear.
Yeah.
Because that drives me
You
crazy.
can't disregard a legend like
Bro,
Madam
when
O'Hara,
I
Dame Catherine O'Hara.
yeah, when I'm watching like the news and they're interviewing like, you know, people, big people that are on TV a lot, people that do bigger things, politicians, whatever. And I hear them use the word nuclear. I'm like, wow.
Getcha.
It's just
Right in the
funny.
feels.
It's like, dude, it's yeah.
Totally.
You're incorrect. anyway,
Nuclear.
nuclear. So I would absolutely recommend this movie 3,000%.
Dude.
Like just
And you got to back
just-
it up. It's like you got to chase it with a Candy movie of choice.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I would
Speaking of
recommend.
which-
Yeah, go ahead.
Should we put a Candy movie on the docket?
Should we
I-
chase it? We should.
I think we should. We should chase it. Yeah.
I feel like
let's-
Planes Trains is the obvious choice.
It seems like the obvious choice, but I kind
know.
of really my first instinct was to watch Stripes, so I'll throw that one in.
Sure. I'm down for whatever.
My first instinct was to watch Splash
Ooh, all right.
because I haven't seen that in a very long time.
I'll do Splash.
But I'm not tied to that. But that was
Yeah.
where I was at. I've seen Plane, Trains, and Automobiles like 100,000 times, and it's great. But like, I don't. I mean, I guess I don't have to watch it. Really, I could just talk about it.
Well, I don't.
I think I'm on the Splash train, man. Just because it's like edgelord candy, you know, like it's not straight.
You know what? Let's do Splash. I don't think I've seen Splash since it came out in the theater.
That's kind of the thing. I think it'll be freshy.
Yeah.
It'll be fresher.
And I really just want to watch Stripes. So, Chad, if you can find me a copy of Stripes, if you can find me a copy to
See
watch,
if there's any trucks around.
right? If there's any trucks around in your neighborhood, and then we'll do Splash for next week.
Okay.
I think it's a
we should
great idea.
definitely. I'm down for Stripes too, but I've seen that more recently, so
Yeah.
that's sort of where I'm at.
Yeah,
With
But I think what I'm saying, Ben, is that I'm feeling you, and I think
You're gonna watch
Splash would
both.
be better to do because for a variety of reasons. Well, one of them being that Chad and I really don't remember it, and I just want to watch Stripes. So I'm not like married as long as I get to watch it in the next 2 days. Or hopefully,
Stripes
like,
should
tomorrow.
definitely be something we do at some point in the future.
No
I guess
question.
it's-
Yes, absolutely.
100%
no question
worthy.
about that.
I
Yeah.
love Stripes. So okay, cool.
That'd be good. All right. So, Chad, what are we doing next week? I can't
We
wait
just
to hear.
discussed it. We're going to do Splash.
we
Fucking dead.
got to leave it just like that.
We do. We are going to leave it just like that. I don't fucking. We do this shit every week, and like sometimes I cut it, and sometimes we don't. You know, sometimes it's.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is freaking 20 minutes of us going on about what we're gonna watch. Like nobody wants to hear that.
Nobody fucking
And
cares.
sometimes
no.
it's really funny, and I just you leave it, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, well there you have it, folks. We all recommend this stuff. Well, I want to just wrap up with my little recommendation thing because I
Do it.
Ben
Yeah,
was
do it.
talking about something. I just want to say, like, I would 1,000% recommend this, right? Like, even if you hate John Candy, which I would find very difficult to
Which
believe that
you
anybody
don't.
could even hate John Candy, but if you hated John Candy, this is still a great documentary to watch, right? Like, in and of itself, just the documentary. Like, as I said in the opening, like, Colin Hanks knocked this out of the park. It's so good. It's so well done. It's such a great horsey over to John. And, like, it just, like, if you're a fan like us, like, I just made me think of John on a whole nother level, man, you know, in terms of a performer and a talent.
Mhm.
And it's fantastic. So watch it and then chase it with the Candy movie of your choice. Mine was Uncle Buck, you know, and yeah, that's it. I'm sure you guys feel similarly.
Samesies.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Samesies.
But don't miss it. It's very much worth a watch.
There you go. And that's it. So look, we're gonna chase this episode of Candy with a Candy movie. So we're gonna do Splash next week, as we said in our little dumb discussion. So check us out for that. Thanks for joining us for this John Candy, I Like Me. We'll see you next week for Splash. Love you long time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
And that's going to wrap up this week's episode, folks. If you'd like to check out the show notes for this episode, you can do so in your podcast app of choice. Or at our website, ebd.fm/episodes/355.
325.
325. And if you would like to contribute to the ongoing awesomeness that is this endeavor, you can do so after I thank all of you for listening to the show and sticking with us load these many 6 whatever years. We appreciate all 3 of you that have stuck with us. Hey!
Ooh, but
Seriously though, if you want to help us out, you can. You can contribute directly on Patreon, help us pay the bills. Even put a couple pennies in our pocket, maybe. And you can also tell your friends and loved ones to check out the show, or you can review us, which is very powerful for the algorithms. Or you can, call AI and tell them how great we are, and then the AI will do the rest.
Call your local radio station.
Call your local
and
radio
request our
station.
show.
Yeah, there you go. And those are the ways you can support us. If you want to check us out on social, we're on Instagram at EBD Podcast, and that's it. Thanks for joining us for John Candy, I Like Me, the documentary, and we'll see you next week for Splash. So long for now, folks.
One for C-Lab, two for Trujillo, three for Wolverine to round out the trio. In this episode, everybody dies.
Beady, beady, beady. Stop into it.